I actually don't know how to get down. It keeps spawning us up here too. Maybe we... Wait, how the fuck did I pull that off without dying? Wait, what? Are we seeing this? So you're telling me I fall 300 feet and I'm perfectly fine, and then I take 2 steps off the elevator and I instantly fucking implode? What am I watching? Somebody clip that. What the fuck am I watching? I recently played through MOTORSLICE on stream, or MotorWife as I like to call it, and I just had to make a video about it. Also, if you want to come hang out and catch me play some more awesome games like this one, I'd love to see you guys over at twitch.tv/Puttbuns, most nights around 7 PM EST. The reason I refer to this game as MotorWife is because you play as a cute chainsaw-wielding tomboy who goes by the name Slicer P, or P for short. Her alias actually has a lot of similarities to my own. I normally go by the tag Buns online, which is a short form of the nickname Puttbuns, and some of my close friends even refer to me as Putty B. The P standing for Puttbuns, or the fact that Slicer P and Putty B both rhyme and have the same cadence. But I digress. We're here to talk about her, not me. Her character design is quite simple, but still memorable in my opinion. The orange jumpsuit is kind of iconic and makes you wonder about what may have happened in her past. I've heard others mention that she's just gooner bait and they over-sexualized her, and they aren't wrong necessarily. At some points, like the menu screen, maybe one of the cinematics, some text options, or when using the selfie feature, I could kind of agree with this statement. But the menu screen and selfie feature interactions are entirely optional, and none of these things take away or distract from the core gameplay. Also, there are so many games and shows that have much more fan service than this, and no one seems to bat an eye. But all I'm trying to say is that I don't want people to miss out on this game because they heard something that honestly doesn't really change the experience at all in my opinion. And don't lie, you know you like it. Not only do I love her design, but the stylized low poly graphics of the overall game is truly a treat, and made me feel like I was playing a new platformer from an old era, which is exactly what I was hoping for. You get that crunchy retro look while still maintaining modern quality and cohesion. MOTORSLICE is so much more than just a gooner game, and I hope I can convince you to try it. Most of P's backstory is left a mystery, but what we do know is that she's been assigned the task of climbing to the top of a giant megastructure and eradicating any motors that stand in her way. She's accompanied by a drone named Orby, who is what I can only assume some kind of godly overseer who is mostly there for comedic relief during cinematic break moments. The break spots do shed some light on what the lore of the story is, and although they aren't the most compelling bits of all time, I still appreciated the banter between P and Orby, and the cinematics do showcase the phenomenal art direction that I absolutely love. But the story definitely wasn't the selling point for me. The gameplay is what really spoke to me. The motors I mentioned are based off of motorized vehicles that you would find at a construction site, and there are various different types of them that you must extinguish throughout your journey, each one helping introduce new gameplay mechanics. There's also a giant boss at the end of each chapter known as an Elder, which feature their own unique ways of defeating them. I actually really enjoyed how the boss fights were less about you fighting each other one-on-one, and more based off of utilizing the in-game mechanics such as movement and chainsaw-based tech to conquer them. The Elders do fight back, but it didn't feel like the main focus, which was a nice change of pace. This game features a flurry of fun movement and combat mechanics in a way that feels very satisfying once mastered. You've got sprinting, sliding, jumping, this really cool cannonball option you can use to keep your momentum and also make landings less harsh. We got wall running, clambering, swing bars, giant fans, and you can even utilize cracks in the walls to get around. Some basic chainsaw attacks, aerial attacks, some of which reset your jump so you can chain them together, and of course, the MOTORSLICE mechanic, where you can use your chainsaw to grind around certain enemies or sections of the structure. I will say, as cool and unique as this specific mechanic is, it just doesn't function as intended, or maybe it was supposed to be annoyingly difficult. We got stuck. Really? Up, go up, lady. Wait. Wait. No, no, no. Please. No matter how hard I try to change the direction while using this, it almost never goes where I want it to. I did eventually get the hang of it, but it's definitely one of those things that's just hard for no reason. You can also launch around random objects to take out pesky landmines, or to get yourself up onto high ground. You can use orbs as a shield to block attacks, and parry almost anything in the game with the correct timing. This game doesn't hold your hand in the slightest. It's entirely on you to figure out the correct path to progress, which I don't mind. It does add an extra challenge. Deaths in this game aren't super punishing and spawn you back right where you left off, which I think works well because this is a relatively hard game to begin with that doesn't feature a difficulty select option. If you do veer off the intended route, there are collectible orbs scattered throughout the world that you can gather, and they need to be deposited at certain locations, but they will reset if you die before doing so. Some even need to be collected in multiples and have a time limit, often requiring swift parkouring or chaining movement tech to be fast enough. I did enjoy finding creative solutions to completing these side challenges, but ultimately there's no reward for doing so, except for an achievement you get for collecting 30 of them. There's no alternate outfit, music, emotes, or anything of the sort, which is rather disappointing. There is a brief lore-related message if you collect all of them, but I just don't really think it's worth it personally. The main game without hunting for collectibles probably runs about 10 hours depending on the person, which isn't the longest amount of gameplay, but it did seem like the right amount of gameplay. Without spoiling anything, it did kind of leave itself in a position where they could add DLC or make a second one, but I'd also be totally fine if they left it as a one-off. I also think this game has pretty decent replayability, and I spent a good amount of time messing around with mechanics and trying to find ways to be more efficient around the structure. For example, there was a technique I did a lot throughout my playthrough. I referred to it as a slash dash, which basically just takes the intended dodge mechanic and lets you get around faster. After inputting an attack, you can do a combat dodge, or roll, whatever you want to call it. And that's normally just there to avoid getting hit in combat, but you can just slash the air with your chainsaw, then cancel it with a dodge, and you can chain this together on repeat to move around very swiftly. There was a few of the timed collectible runs where this kind of action was basically required, which I thought was pretty cool. These were the sort of things I found myself really enjoying about the game. You just feel like an absolute beast when you're linking together different movement and combat options to a soundtrack as perfect as this. The music in this game is everything I wanted it to be. Pizza Hotline did a remarkable job creating an OST that captures both the pace and style of the game. I'm a sucker for drum and bass music to begin with, but this particular style of ambient D&B made me feel like I was playing Bomberman Heroes again for the first time, which was arguably my favorite game for the N64 growing up. If you know, you know. I'm actually listening to the OST right now as I write this, and will happily continue to listen to this well into the future. Shout out to the sound effects team as well. They did a great job creating sounds that felt organic to the game and truly helped bring the project to life. If I had to rate this game on a scale of 1 through 5 burgers, 5 being the absolute best it could be, I'd probably give it a solid 4 burgers. I really enjoyed playing through MOTORSLICE, and this is a game I've had on my wish list for quite a while. I was a little hesitant to try it at first, but it definitely lived up to my expectations. The gameplay is fluid and allows for quite a lot of player expression if you truly master what it has to offer. The soundtrack is peak, and I would listen to it even if I had never played this game. Also, maybe a hot take, but I kinda liked the little story breaks and moments between P and Orby. So maybe go give this game a try for yourself, and I'll see you guys next time. We're stuck! What? I wedged the chainsaw in between, like, the wheel. Like, in between the roller and the frame. What? This is surely an intended mechanic, no? That's crazy. We have to reset. We're stuck. Dude. Yo, Orby. Why are you just standing there, homie? Do something.